Morning, friends. Pastor Al, Thursday, April 30th. Courageous faith. There's a lot of areas of our life where we need that kind of faith, to have that courage. One of them is prayer. How many times has something come up in our lives that just is overwhelming? How do we handle it? We need courageous faith to even pray about it sometimes. Well, there's a story, comes out of Minnesota, actually, in 1876. The grasshoppers, a plague just happened, and it covered the state, wiping out crops, and was devastating. Well, in the spring of 1877, the fear was that the grasshoppers would come back, and what they're going to do. And it's pretty much agricultural state, and the wheat was devastated. Everything was awful. Well, the governor of the state of Minnesota, John S. Pillsbury, proclaimed April 26th as a day of prayer and fasting. And that he urged every man, woman, and child in the state to stop on that day, take the day, pray and fast. And so businesses were closed, schools were closed, offices were closed, and there was this eerie silence over the state, the story goes. And they prayed. And well, they said it wasn't an eerie silence, a reverent silence, rather. So the next day, it was bright and sunny, and the temperature soared. This was April 26th, and typically it wasn't that warm, but it got warm like a warm summer day. And the grasshopper larvae began to hatch out. And that went on for 3 days. And everyone was filled with fear that they were going to be devastated again. They had been praying, but yet the answer to the prayer wasn't what they expected, for all the larvae to hatch out. So after 3 days, all this hatching was going, like millions and millions of new grasshoppers coming to life. But on the third day, or after the third day, a frost came, killed them all, and wiped out all the grasshoppers that year. And so the crops were saved, everything. It took courageous faith for the governor to call for a state of prayer for the entire state. God answers prayers, my friends. Don't give up. Pray courageously, even if you don't see the answer, or even as the answer comes, it's not what you expect. Have a blessed day.